Okay, morning everyone. Um, Welcome to briefing on Wednesday the 15th, halfway through the month. Certainly been a very changeable month, March. We've seen the first signs of strong winds over a few days. But I talked about yesterday, this low pressure winding itself up in the Atlantic. Hopefully it will just sort of blow itself out really before it really gets to us. But we're going to see the first bout of rain at some point late this afternoon by the looks of it. As you can see from here, before this warm front, you've got the classic features of thickening upper cloud. You can start to see the beginnings of it now, and southwesterly winds flowing in, not strong at the moment. You can see the spacing on the isobars is fairly wide. That will pick up during the day. So, TAFs. Listen to the tug doing his tug run up. Clearly the tug pilot's not listened to the briefing today. But why would they? So TAFs, 200 degrees, 8 knots. Yeah, light southwesterly. The lower winds, I think that's about right. Looking at the other forecasts, maybe a little bit more southerly. Top Meteo are saying few at 2.5. I think that's a bit optimistic, to be honest, at times. What you'll find is you may get some soaring, but as the sun gets slowly cut off, that will disappear and the cloud base will gradually lower. And at some point, Farnborough saying between sort of 16 and 18, 7,000 meters rain and drizzle. Broken low cloud. It's probably more like here, tempo 1,200 feet while the front goes through. And you can see that Exeter are forecasting it a bit earlier than that. And they're showing that the strong winds picking up from this morning from 11 o'clock. So we'll slowly see the wind picking up as the day goes on. Tug is a real distraction. Right, upper winds, quite a lot of southerly. I think about 200 degrees realistically. Lower part 15 knots. You can see out to the west, stronger there, and that's going to slowly come this way. So 15 knots over us, out to the west 25 to 30 from the same southwesterly direction. Sat pic shows the thickening cloud starting to come in. The rain is essentially out here over Cornwall at the moment, and this will thicken up as the day goes on. You can see the general direction as well. You can get the drift direction. See the rainfall radar where it's coming from. This is the bit that's really going to get us. I think this will just sort of peter out and head north of us. A bit over Cornwall, Land's End at the moment is what we're looking at for later on today. Temperature wise, didn't feel too bad yesterday when the sun came out. A bit warmer today, southwesterly wind, southerly wind, 7-8 degrees I would have thought during the day. And you can see the change in temperature when the front goes through, much warmer. Wind direction, just to quickly look at top Meteo. Southerly wind, not very strong. That's sort of 8 to 10 knots in the afternoon. It's the 1,500 foot wind. So not particularly strong all day, really. Cloud amounts by 10 o'clock. They're just showing the beginnings of the upper cloud. They're showing a little bit of fog out to the low cloud out to the west of us. It was foggy when I left home in Winchester this morning. I think that burned off fairly quickly, but it's just showing the slow advance of the warm front. That's 1 o'clock, and that's 3 o'clock. I think by 3-4 o'clock, I wouldn't be surprised if we're not seeing the rain here. And low cloud. The BBC was suggesting by sort of 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the whole of the country covered in rain. So they're perhaps a little bit ahead of us, what they're thinking. Is there going to be any soaring? Well, let's have a quick look. My guess is you'll be lucky if you get some brief local soaring. Yeah, it's there that you can see the march of the rain. It's saying 700-800 meters, 2,000 feet potentially, and then by 4 o'clock in the afternoon, probably the rain is here. Okay, folks, so let's make the most of the day. Airspace wise, very little in the local area, a bit further afield. We've got parachute dropping from 1430 to 1600 at Abingdon, and the Cheltenham Festival is on with the restricted airspace up to 3,000 feet and an ATZ in there. Apart from that, nothing really of note. Operationally, 727 inbound, outbound at 1300 hours. If it doesn't go tag, as it normally seems to do. And how are we going to actually operate on the airfield? Well, I think it's going to be 2-3, folks. We were operating on the grass, landing on the grass yesterday. It actually wasn't too bad. We'll try and operate the gliders on the edge of the runway here and potentially tow out with a southerly here. We'll see how it works out. But 2-3 operation, fairly standard, landing on either side. I don't think the grass was particularly bad in any places. Soft, yeah. So, odd wet puddles here and there, but it's actually not too bad. That's about it. Go and get the kit out, folks. Let's make the most of the morning. See what we get.